We have a beautiful metaphor when it comes to prayer of Jacob in his dream of a ladder that was rooted in this world and had rungs that went up to heaven. And our sages explain that prayer is climbing up a ladder towards heaven. What does it mean towards heaven? There's four is also climbing up, starting from the soul. It begins from above and migrates down below. It begins in the world of Atzilus, goes into Bria, Yitzira, and Asiya. Now, depending on what kind of soul will be depending on what kind of migration, which we'll explain that in a moment. What kind of migration? But prayer is the opposite way. Prayer is about connection. So we want to go back up the ladder. So when we start off in a world of Asiya. Asiya is like action. Kind of just praising God. Haidul Hashem. Right? God is praised. Okay. God is praised. We're just getting a warm up, so we're saying words of praise. Then we come in Psukkah de Zimra and we go up the next rung, world of Yitzira, world of emotion, where we're developing the emotional connection. And finally, we come up to Shema, and we understand a world of comprehension, the world of Bria, where we come to understanding. An understanding, an awareness, in other words, of the oneness of God that becomes very clear and real. And then finally, we come to the world of Atzilus is the highest world. What is that an expression of? Welcome to Tanya Today. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zichin Kadeshim in Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. Our souls all come from the same root, but how they migrate down here and what they pick up on the way will indicate what kind of soul we are. So, for example, for the most part, our souls in this generation are from the world of Asiya. Now, they could be Chesed of Asiya, Gvur of Asiya, could be Chesed, could be endurance of kindness of Asiya. It could be, of different qualities, all different levels within the same world. But what does it mean that it migrated? It means it came from the same lofty place, but it picked up things along the way from Atzilus, it picked up Bria, Yitzira, and Asiya. And therefore, because it picked up from the lowest level, it became vested with the divine qualities of the world of Asiya. Therefore, it's a different kind of soul than, for example, a soul that comes from the world of Yitzira. Because it didn't vest it, so that soul doesn't, it just merely, like sometimes you just pass through a town, and sometimes you stay over in the town and you engage in the activity of that town. You pick up the culture of that town. You pick it up, right? Or you just pass through and you pick up nothing from the culture of that town. So the soul, when it comes down, the soul of Asiya picked up the culture of each world, but primarily it picked up the culture of the world of Asiya. And therefore it is a lower level soul in the divine light that's imbued in it. The soul of Yitzira passed only through, of Yitzira only passed through Asiya. It didn't pick up the culture. So it's a loftier soul. Bria merely passed through right? Pass through Yitzira and Asiya, and then pick up any elements of those lower qualities, right? Of they're divine, but lower qualities, right? Lower doesn't mean worse. Lower means less sensitive to the divine. Different quality of service as a result. Now, the soul of Atzilus, as we spoke of yesterday, is a soul that is completely nullified to God, meaning they have no desire of their own. Every limb of their being is only an expression of God. And therefore, every limb is there only in the service of God. Why? Not because of their great love of God, not because of their great comprehension of God's truth and reality and that there's nothing else but him. Not that they have comprehension and they have the love and awe of God, but that would not suffice to be a soul of Atzilus. Why? Because to know something means you are a something. To feel something means you are a something that feels. It means you're separate from God. I feel God, I know God, but I'm separate from God. The souls of Atzilus, they have their feelings towards God, their awareness of God is not one that they sense their separateness from God at all. They're a very lofty soul. Very few righteous people. There's righteous people that come from the world of Bria, but these are the very unique quality souls that come from Atzilus. They are called a Merkava, a chariot, just like a chariot is ridden by its rider. These lofty souls are ridden by God. They have no whim and desire of their own. Now, a soul has to migrate through all the worlds to finally get into, because they come into this physical world, but their soul is an expression of Atzilus, such lofty souls. They only passed through the town. They didn't pick up any of the culture of the town. That clear? Yeah? Wonderful. All right. So, in other words, in every fiber of their being, they are just a reflection of God. Why? Not because they understand, not that they don't understand, they do. But that's not what drives them. What drives them is because their soul is completely revealed, their divine soul. And the divine soul wants to be connected to God just because. That's its nature. That's what it is. It is. I'm saying, I shouldn't say just because even here, because that would be more of a level of a Yetzirah soul. But they've worked on themselves to such a degree that imagine you have no desire of your own. You only reflect what God needs from you. And even, I wouldn't even call it what God, it's just so, anyway, I don't even know what it is, because if I would understand it, then I would be it. But that's what we're talking about, right? Yes, exactly. Now, what happens to the rest of us? We're not such lofty souls. Can we ever experience something like that? See, Alter Rebbe says it's possible. At least souls of Bria. I don't know about below that, but a soul from Bria, which is a soul that is motivated by the comprehension that they have, and the comprehension that they have, constantly they are aware that God is real, that God is the only reality. But that means there's a me there, right? But they have a capability of sometimes reaching even to the level of Atzilus, that there's no me there, that they're so absorbed in the divine that they don't have a sense of self. When can they do that? Prayer. And in prayer, specifically, the highest rung of prayer, which is the Amida, the Shmoneh Esrei. That's when we take 3 steps back and 3 steps forward for our private audience with the Almighty. They can be so absorbed, especially in their bowing, right? They bow out of, we bow because we're conscious we know, it's right here, I got to bow. It's, I know, I said, I'm aware of that. They bow just because their body brings them to that. Not out of, so a soul of Atzilus would be a soul of Bria because you're aware. Soul of Atzilus is just because your body is so attuned that is just a reflection of the divine. Again, it's hard to fathom exactly what that is. But there can be this self-nullification in the light of God, absolutely not before him, right? Even though the principal abode of such a soul would be in the world of Bria, that's where that soul comes from, and that's where it lives, so to speak. But it can have a moment of divine favor because they've worked on themselves to the degree that God gives them during divine favor. And what's divine favor? Prayer is a time of divine favor. That in the Amida, the highest rung, the 4th rung of the ladder, right? The lowest rung is when you start with Hoidu, then Psuki de Zimmer, the Ashrei, and the Ishtabach, right? All of that. There's the 2nd rung of Yitzira. And then the 3rd rung is the Shema, in prayer of the Shema, Hear, O Israel, understanding. And then you come to the Amida. You're standing there before God, completely nullified. Then it's possible that this soul of Bria is experiencing that which is in Atzilus, beyond them. Short class that I made it long. Is that clear? In other words, sometimes God will give us in prayer an experience, a connection that's beyond what we are in our own capacity, which is pretty phenomenal when you think about it. Pretty phenomenal. Sometimes God gives us something in prayer that is beyond what our soul capacity is, that we can connect in a deeper way than what the natural capacity of our soul would be. That's really what comes out over here. Right?
But isn't that supposed to be have a ongoing experience as well to past?
Well, I mean, to feel so nullified that there's no me there of those righteous people of Atzilus, so we're going to constantly feel that? No. We're going to feel ourselves.
So the people who are just inherently righteous have the souls that originate from the world of Yetzirah?
Atzilus.
Yetzilos, okay.
Atzilus is the world of emanation.
Okay.
Right? It's the highest world. It's a world, but yet it's an emanation of God. It's not a creation.
Yeah.
Creation started with Bria, highest. It's a world of divine comprehension. Yetzirah, the world of formation, is a form of emotion, divine emotion, which is lesser than divine comprehension, right? In emotion, you feel more yourself than you do in comprehension, right? There's more of me there, right? And then there's the world of Asiya, the world of the Siya, spiritual Siya. Then there's the world of action in the spiritual realm. And then there's this physical world, right? Which is then already Klipa, Sitar Acher, and so on. And those worlds, we're not talking about that. Even though there is a dimension of Klipas Noiga.
Wow.
So, yeah, so the world of Atzilus is a world of emanation of the divine. It's not creation. Creation, by definition, means There's a something, right? Something from nothing. That's what creation, Bria is, right? Bria, yesh mi'ayin, the creation of something from nothing. In other words, there's a sense that I'm a something. In the world of Bria, the sense of somethingness that a person that soul has is very ethereal, very flimsy, not much of a something, right? But from the world of Asiya, you're a real something, right? And we feel our somethingness so much so that if if you said something not nice to me, I feel my something, right? I feel me, right? Because this world has got a lot of clip in it.
So the Berea, the something is our intellectual comprehension or our,
Divine comprehension, right?
but through the intellect.
Through the intellect. Well, comprehension is through
Oh,
intellect,
yeah.
right? Yes, exactly. Okay.
But Berea takes work, Berea takes like attunement of your comprehension. Whereas Yetzirah, like your sort of emotional connection is just.
Well,
what you
Yetzirah, we
feel.
explained, Yetzirah is a world of an instinctual connection, right? Which is the instinct that the soul has that it wants to be connected to God,
Yeah.
right? Not because you comprehend, but that's the nature of the soul,
Yeah.
right? It wants to connect. Just like the metaphor that we gave, like a 5-year-old girl or even boy that's walking in a busy mall, right? Or yesterday, by the eclipse, and with a lot of people, the child is holding for dear life onto the mother or father.
Yeah.
Why? Instinctually, they feel the bond and attachment to their parent, and they don't want to be separated from them. Is there a logic to it? No. Is there an understanding to that? No. Right. Well, that's a similar way as the soul has that desire to be bonded with God. That's an instinctual thing, right? So that's the instinct of the soul that when we reveal it, we still have to reveal it because we have an animal soul that doesn't want that.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's the nature of it. Now, a mature person understands that if I'm, going to say or do this, it's going to disconnect me from a loved one, right?
Yeah.
So they comprehend that. That's greater than the instinct of the 5-year-old. That's a soul from Bria, right? That understands God, comprehends God, and is connected through the comprehension of that God, an awareness that they have that God is real, God is true, God is everything, right? But yet, what's the drawback?
You're still something.
You're something that's comprehending.
Yeah. You're not.
There's me comprehend. That's a very lofty level, and righteous souls come from there, right? Our souls are not from there, right? Yet there's a something there. Then there's the completely lofty, righteous souls that they have, and of course, it's something that they're born with the capacity for, but they have to work and to develop it. It's not a given, right? They have to serve. They first have to become a Beinoni before becoming righteous, right?
Yeah.
They're born with the capacity they could do that. I mean, we all, for Beinoni at least, have. In any case, so that person then is now is not serving God out of a comprehension. Not that they have the comprehension, but that's not their motivator. The motivator is that they've worked over their physical body in such a way that the body itself is attuned to the divine, and right, not the soul. That's Yetzirah is attuned, right? And you got to reveal, like the child is attuned to the connection to the mother, right? Tuned to that. But here it's that the body is so attuned that the body cannot do anything else but what the divine will is, meaning that the body has no desire of its own. My body has a desire. I'm a little hungry now. I wouldn't mind eating something, right? I gotta maybe stand up in a few moments because I gotta move my legs a bit. So it's easy to get after sitting a while to get stiffened up, right? So my body has its own desire. These righteous people don't. The body doesn't. It doesn't. It's hard to fathom what that means. That's why, by the way, there's no such thing as this kind of lofty people anywhere but a Jewish lofty person. It just can't exist. Because it's only through Torah, right, that you have so engaged in Torah learning that it made you over your physical reality, right? As we are learning now, we can understand how the little bit that we're comprehending, how that's making us over in a certain way, right? But we're talking about it's making over their physical limbs that can only be through Torah's power. That does it. That's why it can only exist by a Jew, such a thing. Atzilus. Yes. Is that clear? Let me think about
As
it.
clear as it can be.
Yeah. Well, think about it. When people talk about righteous people in the world, right? Well, they don't call them tzaddikim, they call them righteous. Non-Jews call in the world, right? Mother, what's her name, right? She was far from righteous. She wasn't even a Beinoni, but yet they're called righteous. She wasn't even a Beinoni. She had mastery over every thought, cogitated thought. No, she didn't. She did nasty things even, right? And yet they called her righteous. Not righteous. Definitely not in our explanation, and not even in the world's explanation, right? I'm just to give us a sense of what truth is and how distant the world is from truth. And the only truth is Torah.
Yeah.
The only truth is Torah. Yeah, that's very clear.
Time to do the Kabbalah class again.
Brett has a question. Are there dimensions within dimensions? There are dimensions within dimensions? What? Yes. I don't know what you mean by that, Brett. Yes. There's levels within levels. All right, folks. Rambam is coming now. Come and join us. Thank you. God bless you all. Please. Yes. Thank you, folks. Amazing. Just to remind whoever can watch our classes on YouTube, youtube.com/Tanya Rabbi. That is a great help because we're trying to develop our YouTube station. God bless you.